welcome to Cultivating Keepsakes. I'm Eden, and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be making a homemade wooden spool, and then I'm going to be using that spool to make a rustic kind of primitive style candle holder. I took these two circular ornaments that I got from Dollar Tree and a cylinder piece of wood that came out of a kid's set of blocks that I got from the thrift store, and I used my Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Fluff to give them each a couple good coats and let it dry. And then I took my Waverly dark wax and I gave it a really good coat of that as well, pretty thick. I was obviously aiming to make it look like wood. The only part I didn't cover was the ends of the cylinder and two small circular areas, one on each side, not one on each side, on one side of each of the circles where the cylinder would be attached. That way the adhesion with the glue would be better. And once I got them completely covered, I used my heat gun to dry the wax. My heat gun has two settings, and if I put it on high, it dries the wax really quickly. Once I was done with that, I used my Titebond quick and thick glue and my hot glue to attach the cylinder to the circles. You just don't want to put the Titebond and the hot glue in the exact same spot because that can defeat the purpose. As you can see, making the spool part was super easy and also super affordable, and I absolutely love the way it turns out looking. It would be cute without becoming a candle holder. It would be cute to just add, some type of ribbon or string or fabric to, or use as a riser. But I wanted to take it one step further and turn it into a candle holder. So I had this mason jar ring and I used my liquid nails and hot glue to attach that to the top of my spool. And I was just checking to make sure that everything would fit in where I wanted it. And again, you also don't want to put the glue in the same exact places for this either. And then I just tried to get it centered. And then I took this homespun fabric that I had and I cut it and then tore it into a strip. And then I wrapped that around the mason jar ring. I had to do it a couple times because it just wasn't looking right to me. But I got it on there and then I just kind of tied it in a knot. Eventually here. Try again. Okay. And then I just tied it into a knot and I cut off the ends. And then I took some muslin fabric that I had coffee stained and my clickable stamps from Michaels and my Ranger archival ink in black, and I stamped out a quote. I believe it's by Eleanor Roosevelt. It said, "It is better to light one small candle than to curse the darkness." And then I just kind of folded the fabric over so I would have two pieces roughly the same size. And then I cut and tore that off. And then I took it over to my sewing machine and I added a piece of batting and just sewed it together really wonky like. And then I took a rusty safety pin and I attached that to the tag and attached the tag to the piece of fabric that was wrapped around my mason jar ring. And then once I had that how I wanted it, I cut the fabric a little bit shorter. I just didn't think it looked right that long. And then I took this rusty bell I had and I figured out where I liked it best, and then I just hot glued that onto my little tag. And then I took a candle that I got from Temu and I put that on top, and then I had one of the can jars and I put that over top of the candle, and that was it. The project was finished. I absolutely love how it turned out. I hope you guys love it too. I'd love to see yours if you make one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!